There's always a touch of spice when these two collide, and this one should be little different. The Odsal revolution is gathering pace. Will Leeds put a spanner in the works? These two met in September in the Centenary Championship, and the Sky Sports viewers were treated to one of the best games of the season. Leeds won it, but only just. It was the 6th time in a row that the Bulls had lost to Leeds, but 5 of those 6, like the match last September, were at Headingley. The rugby league world was stunned this week when Leeds decided to sell teenage England international Paul Cook to Bradford. With 8 tries and 74 goals, he was Leeds' top scorer. Brian Smith rates Cook one of the best kickers in the world, and he aims to prove him right today. Sonny Nicol arrived at Odsal with 2 others in the deal which took Paul Newlove to St Helens, and the big second row has been an instant hit. 2 games, 2 tries. Quite a start for the Great Britain international. Leeds have got a Kiwi connection at Headingley now, and when Carl Hall moved as make-weight in the Paul Cook deal, it brought the total of New Zealanders on the Headingley staff to 9. Hall has a great record for scoring tries, 25 in 48 appearances for the Bulls. Another New Zealander, Craig Innes, will bid farewell to the British scene when he signs next year for Perth Western Reds in Australia, and Leeds are dismayed that he's going. Since he arrived, the former All Black has made a big impact, and he needs just 3 more tries for 50 in Leeds colours. Here are the teams. Fullback Roger Simpson and 19-year-old Anthony Gibbons, who only made in the Stones Bidder Centenary Championship. Graham Holroyd gets the game underway. Roger Simpson picks up the football, and he runs it back for the first tackle of the afternoon. It's a chilly day at Odsal, but it's dry. Conditions good for open, fast rugby league, and let's hope these two sides give us that.
Great work there by the loose forward, Mike Forshaw. He really did put a big crash tackle in there. And Leeds mean business. They've got Bradford on the rattle.
Tremendous defence inside the Bradford half of the field by this Leeds side. Sonny Nicol eventually going to ground. Donahue is the dummy half. A long pass from him. That wasn't the best. And Summers couldn't wheel the ball in. Referee Russell Smith has a quick look at his touch judge. It went backwards, it's play on, and so Robbie Paul can feed Paul Medley, and Medley chipped over the top. It's bounced kindly in the end for George Mann, but was the Bradford player, Robbie Paul, impeded as he chased his kick through.
And was Paul Medley. Medley made a real meal of it. Well, they tipped over each other. And look how that ball bounced over the top of 4 players. Well, good support play by Medley. Super run by Robbie Paul. He jinked back on the inside and found the second rower.
The penalty to Leeds was just given, but they've made a dreadful error. They haven't found touch, and there's the first touch of the ball in Bradford's colours for Paul Cook. Holroyd's kick for touch was nowhere near, and Cook ran it back, and what's more, he's got a penalty against his former club. Good work.
Sure was. He's worked hard at that. Look at that. His former teammate, James Lowes, had actually released him, but the winger, Paul Cook, was still wriggling around. Well, they held him down there a little bit, but you can see him just working at it. Finally convinced the referee, Russell Smith, but what a bad mistake by Leeds. Graham Holroyd, they got a penalty in their own quarter and just wasted it.
Yes, he went for touch in a big way, but he drifted the ball back into the field of play. It never crossed the line at all. And so that's why Bradford now are in this position for Paul Cook to score his first points for his new club. Talking to him this week, he said he would hope to get a couple of opportunities today to add to his 74 goals this season that he has all scored for Leeds, and here he is now right at the start of the match with a big opportunity. He's got under it, and he hasn't got quite the accuracy, and so it allows Anthony Gibbons to run the ball out 10 metres.
Well, he looked very nervous, didn't he, the new boy, Paul Cook? Sort of hesitated on his running.
That is his style, though, Steve. He has a stuttering run up to the football, but you're right. The nerves were there for all to see. Now Carl Hall, of course, we mustn't forget that he is the man who made the journey in the opposite direction, and he now is at Headingley. He was part of the deal that brought Paul Cook to Odsal. He is someone else who is desperate for a big game. Jamie Field, good tackle on him, right on the halfway line. Here's Holroyd again, high kick this time, no pressure at all on Simpson, and he takes it cleanly.
Far too deep then. That's a second bad kick. No pressure applied to the fullback Simpson. He had all the time in the world.
Gary Christie with that run. Well, there's no doubt about it. Brian Smith's Odsal revolution really is in full swing. 14 new faces and 7 others have been shown the door here since Brian Smith took control in the summer. Neil Summers, though, is one of the lucky ones to have survived. He takes the tackle from Neil Harmon. Donahue to Paul Medley. Tackling by Mike Forshaw. And Summers just clips one over towards the corner. Marvin Golden shuttled back and picked it up. The Academy International, Marvin Golden, takes it to the 20-metre mark.
Well, Bradford launched their attack there, but they were still stood standing. Really should run onto the football. On 3 play of the balls there, the first receiver was just stood still.
Barry McDermott, the man, of course, who came to Leeds in a £100,000 deal from Wigan. He played the ball then. That's George Mann. And this is James Lowes. Tackled by Sonny Nicol with a little bit of help from John Hamer. They made 59 metres, though. Leeds. Iro, well wrapped up. Gibbons dabs the ball forward, and Simpson applied the brakes and skidded when he went to get that. But he gets out of trouble, gets away from Gibbons. Can't get away, though, from the on-rushing Francis Cummins.
Good work there from the left winger, Cummings. He'd come right in to make sure that Roger Simpson couldn't get any further upfield. Good kick and chase that time.
Marvin Golden hanging on to Jason Donahue. Dummy half is Summers. This now is John Hamer. Well, over the years, between these two, there have been 43 games prior to today. Bradford have won 22, Leeds have won 18.
Jamie Field down on the field there. Caught a bad knock when he went in for that tackle. He sort of took one step and then just collapsed.
2 Leeds players are flat out at the moment. Meanwhile, Gibbons will run this ball back at the Bradford defence.
Well, the injury there. Now he just takes a step and then, well, just delayed concussion perhaps, or something like that. Well, he's trotting back rather gingerly back into the defensive line, but there's still another Leeds player flat out.
So Leeds continuing this attack then with 12 fit players, and Mike Forshaw with a lovely break up the middle, and he was well watched by Robbie Paul, the Bradford Bulls captain, who pulls Forshaw to the ground. Good tackle. Here's Holroyd, ball inside though, and that is Carl Hall, but Bradford caught offside at the play of the ball.
Quite a few of them he could select as well. Jason Donahue was one of them. Didn't get back the 10, made no attempt actually. You see how the quick play the ball. And there's Donahue just trying to get into the second mark, and he never made any attempt to get back. Well spotted by Russell Smith. That's good refereeing.
So penalty to Leeds, and Graham Holroyd with the opportunity here to get the first points of the ball on the board. And meanwhile, the Leeds player who is down and injured, Craig Innes, is coming gingerly off the field. Innes playing today at standoff for the first time since Old Trafford and the Premiership final last season, and by the looks of things he's lasted little more than 7 minutes. This is the injury.
Sort of just twisted the ankle there. He's in a lot of pain. Well, it didn't seem to be too badly there, but I think you'll find that maybe the left ankle just twisted over. Either way, Holroyd ready to open the scoring perhaps.
And Holroyd, of course, now that Cook has gone to Bradford with the goal-kicking responsibilities, and would you believe that? Holroyd has missed. Well, he's not had a happy start, has he, Graham Holroyd? And his teammates need to get round him quickly. and lift his spirits. 2 awful kicks in play and a dreadful penalty attempt there. Innes off, David Gibbons on, so the 2 twins now, Anthony and David Gibbons, on the field for Leeds. And there is Anthony Gibbons and his brother David goes into dummy half. They're alike as 2 peas in a pod, those 2.
I'll just call him Gibbons, eh?
I think I might do the same. This is James Lowe's. David Gibbons in at dummy half. Finds Holroyd, who finds Harmon.
Well, both sides better start realising that they've got to stand back a little bit and then gain momentum.
Good drive from McDermott and brilliantly picked up by Gibbons. And Forshaw managed to keep the ball alive. He flicked it back, but the referee has seen a high challenge here. James Lowe's.
Straight over the top of the shoulder. It was well done there by Forshaw to keep the ball alive, but referee Russell Smith, Johnny on the spot, the swinging arm.
Right into the chin of Gary Christie, and he's receiving quite a ticking off from referee Russell Smith. Well, Forshaw did so well to get fingertips to the ball and knock it backwards. But then all that good work comes to naught.
It was a super pass from Barry McDermott that got the ball away, and then Forshaw did the right thing, but there was no support. Gary Christie come flying in from the wing, but perhaps he wishes he didn't. The hooker James Lowe's got a real ticking off from the referee Russell Smith, and rightly so. Well, it's been a stop-start affair in these first 10 minutes. Injuries and penalties. Referee Russell Smith making sure that he's going to keep a tight control of this game.
Jason Donoghue will restart, and he finds Hamer taking on George Mann and Carl Hall. 4 penalties in the opening 10.5 minutes. Now McDermott driving the ball up to the halfway line. Good tackling by Leeds. And Donoghue trying to make progress on dummy half. None available, and they're all over him.
Jamie Field came in pretty late then, and that could perhaps have been classed by Harmon as a flop.
Referee says play on. Bradford in possession. Not the best ball from Summers. Loughlin did well to pick it up, then gets the pass away to Roger Simpson, who in turn keeps the ball alive back to Summers. Support arrives there from Simon Knox, and he is knocked to the ground by Iro. Now Medley, former Leeds player, of course, Paul Medley. His dab ball through and picked up by Cummins.
That was a wasted kick there. Just wasted possession. No real thought behind it. Well, both sides are having problems getting their attack going.
Iro. Kevin Iro. Bradford just standing off him briefly. Iro, 3 tries against this Bradford side in the Premiership match between the 2 last May.
It's simmering out there. It really is simmering.
Well, we said at the top of the programme today, Steve-O, that there is no love lost between these 2 sides. There's always a little bit of spice in the air when Bradford and Leeds collide.
It sure is.
That's a better run, though. And he was ankle-tapped, George Mann, at the last minute.
Neil Summers down in the back play. He's receiving treatment. So it's pretty tough out there at the moment.
Holroyd's kick came back off the body of Sonny Nicol, and Nicol was able to regain possession for Bradford Bulls. Oh, drop ball. Leeds have it back. It was stolen, though.
Well, I'm not so sure. Yes, it is. You can see there James Lowe's just got the fingertips into it. It's another area that the referee's boss, Greg McCallum, is looking at. In the next couple of weeks, perhaps we may see a new rule, which is what the coaches want, which is when it's man-on-man, one-on-one, you can pinch the football.
Well, it's certainly worth a thought, because that's one of the biggest anomalies in the game at the moment, isn't it? The decision whether a ball is stolen or simply comes out of the grasp.
Well, we might get a Christmas present. I think that will be brought in very shortly.
Donoghue trying to keep the ball alive, only kept it alive for Leeds. Cummins has it.
Well, they're claiming, the Bradford players and the Bradford crowd, that George Mann's fingertips got to it in a knock-on.
And they did.
Well, there you see this defence moving up quickly. I know they're eager to get the defence sorted out, but both sides have got to stand a little bit deeper. That's better there. Give themselves some room to move. Here's a replay. Well, did George get his hand to it? Looked it on that, didn't it?
I think he did. Offside. He's given offside against Brian McDermott. The kick through from Iro came off a Bradford player, and McDermott adjudged to have been standing in front of the ball.
Well, there was little doubt about it. When the ball came through, there's a kick. And there you see McDermott come from an offside position. Well refereed by Russell Smith.
Harmon plays the ball to Lowe's, and he finds Gibbons. Oh, and they've got butterfingers out there, Leeds. McDermott did well to keep hold of it. The ball went backwards in the second mistake. And the referee says to James Lowe's that he can play on.
You can see the hand of Robbie Paul in there also.
This is Carl Hall. What would he give for a try today here at Odsal in the new colours of Leeds? Much has been talked about, of course, about the move for Paul Cook, but we shouldn't forget that Carl Hall was also involved in that transfer. Here's Iro. Iro still going. He's got Summers around him, and Lachlan came swinging in. Golden, the dummy half, to Gibbons, and here is Holroyd. Holroyd trying to get through. He's within 4 metres of that try line. Last tackle, barging run from McDermott, but good defence. Referee says the tackle was completed, despite the fact that it came out of McDermott's grasp. It's the turnover.
McDermott trying to just get the ball alive on the last one. Well spotted by the referee again. Well, I think some of these players ought to get on playing rugby league football rather than shouting and bawling at the officials.
Touch judge on the far side has seen a knock-on from Roger Simpson.
Well, every one of the players out there, any incident, well, it's pretty hard to see whether he lost it or whether Forshaw got a fingertip to it. But all the players, they're just shouting and bawling at the referee. Let him be the boss, get on and play rugby league football.
Anthony Gibbons plays the ball to George Mann. This is a great opportunity here for Leeds. Lowe's. And now the big man Harmon, and if he stretches out, he could be over. And the referee looks at the in-goal judge and he gives the try. Neil Harmon used all his strength and weight then, and he plonked the ball, I think, just on the whitewash, and the referee, Russell Smith's given the try.
The big question is, was it grounded first? If the elbow touches the ground, he's grounded. Can't reach over there. To me, that's a double movement. Let's see now. It's the arm that carries the football. No, that's okay. But did he get it on the line? Well, controversy here. Goes down, so the arm carrying the football wasn't stopped. Now, if he's got it down, then that is a fair try. My apologies to the prop forward.
Just on the line.
Good positioning by the referee, Russell Smith. Either way, Neil Harmon won't be complaining.
Certainly won't be. That's his 5th try of the season. He has been Leeds' best forward so far this centenary campaign. Now here's a chance for Holroyd, and this time he finds the mark. He kicks the conversion, and Leeds have a 6-point lead.
Now the rule states that it's the arm carrying the football and it doesn't touch the ground. The other one does, so that's okay. He can continue moving forward, and that's what he does. And according to the referee, Russell Smith, it hit the whitewash.
Well, a try for Neil Harmon today, and one against the Bulls back in September, with the start of a 4-try in 7-game period for him. I'm sure he hopes that this will spark off another run like that. Scoring team kicking off, remember, under the new rules that came in this week. So it means that Bradford get the football, and Medley will try and run it out. But that's great defence from Harmon again. He is certainly leading by example this season.
Well, the game certainly needed that try. It'll lift the spirits of Leeds, and I'm sure that encourage Bradford to put a little bit more effort into it.
Donahue looked to the right-hand side for support. There was none there, so he had to give it in the end to Simon Knox. He plays the ball to Donahue, and he finds Summers. Long pass to Paul. Now Roger Simpson. Prop forward is John Hamer. The ball went backwards. Play on. Oh, and that was obstruction, surely.
David Gibbons definitely moved the elbow. There you see him just pushing him out of the way. Definitely pushed. Gary Christie got the arm over, and he said he was being dragged along with him. And Russell Smith was right on the spot. Well, it really has been a stop-start affair, hasn't it?
It has. David Gibbons, though, scrum half for the last two. Making his 11th appearance in a Leeds jersey today now, David Gibbons, but he's given the penalty and the opportunity again for Paul Cook to get his Bradford tally underway. England international, playing in the World Cup less than 2 months ago. Paul Cook, 39 appearances for Leeds, 264 points, 180 of them this season. And he misses. He can't believe it. For a moment, the two touch judges appeared to signal it had gone over. The crowd believed it was over, Cook believed it was over, but the two men who had to make the decision decided it wasn't.
Well, I think one of the touch judges actually puts the flag halfway up. One on the left, I think it did. Oh, and then he pulls it down. How's about that for changing your mind midstream?
Drop out from their own 20-metre line for Leeds. Bradford have the ball back.
Well, it's really messy.
I'm waiting too long.
It's really messy around this play-the-ball area. We brought the two new rules in to stop all this. Well spotted by Russell Smith, and I think it's time he started just waving the little card a bit, but it's not getting through to these guys.
McDermott will run it towards that line now. Donahue, the dummy half, and it's Hamer. Keeps the legs pumping, does Hamer. Donahue, Summers, Paul, Loughlin, forward pass ruled, I think.
Yes, it was. He delayed the pass too long, did Robbie Paul to the centre, Paul Loughlin.
But it isn't Loughlin's day, and it certainly isn't Paul Cook's day, because he thought he was over here.
Just delayed it. Just too long there, split second. Ball coming out, you'll see it clear here. Just a fraction forward, well spotted.
Well, Paul Cook thought he was over for a first try for Bradford against Leeds. Referee's shrill whistle, though, pulled him back. Leeds playing an error-free game so far. That's in terms of handling errors, anyway. Holroyd spins the ball to Forshaw. Good run from Forshaw, he's done this before. Oh, dreadful pass, though. It was hopeless for David Gibbons to try and pick that one up.
Good advantage played there by the referee. It was a good run by Mike Forshaw, but not the best pass. David Gibbons had little chance to get to that. But we're still having a lot of problems at this play-the-ball area.
Keeps the ball alive well. But the ball not the best pass, and Paul Cook does the best with the bits. Medley. Donahue and Cook. Fancies a run. Golden tackled him without the ball. Play on.
Well, the winger Marvin Golden had committed himself, but he definitely dragged after. There's a kick from Cook. Now he committed himself, but he definitely has another go at him. Play on, said Russell Smith.
Marvin Golden, 18. Looking down this list of Leeds players, there are a lot of teenagers in the blue and gold of Leeds these days. And of course, Brian Smith, the Bradford coach, is doing his level best to reduce the average age of the Bradford side as well. Leeds have lost it.
Poor play by Jamie Field. Forcing the pass when they don't have to.
Here's Sonny Nicol. Sonny Nicol makes it 3 from 3. 3 tries, 3 appearances. He is a big hit here at Odsal already. 3 tries, 3 appearances for the big second row forward.
Good play, the switch to the blind. They expected him to go out on that right-hand side. He throws the dummy. You see how they hang off. Kevin Iro had gone out. The sliding cover was nowhere to be seen. Forshaw was too late. Prop forward. Couldn't get to him either. That is a great try. Remember, this guy has run all the way from the dummy half position. So you must point the finger of blame at the Leeds defence to allow him all the latitude in the world.
And a little bit of inexperience perhaps as Jamie Field tried to keep the ball alive for Leeds, and Bradford swooped. Now then, Paul Cook believed he had kicked a goal earlier, but the touch judges begged to differ. Here's the opportunity for him now. Well, perhaps he's left his kicking boots in the Headingley dressing room, poor old Paul Cook. Bradford 4, Leeds 6.
There you see the Leeds defence in all turmoil. They're hanging back too much. Poor play by the second markers too. They should have gone across a lot quicker than that. And I'm afraid 2 men were having a bit of a rest on that blind side. And the second rower, Sonny Nicol, he took full advantage. Well spotted. A great run from the dummy half position.
So Bradford restart with the kick-off, and Leeds, in the shape of George Mann, try to run it back. Here's Forshaw. It's a good tackle on him by Donoghue. And here now is McDermott. That's Barry McDermott of Leeds. 3 Great Britain international caps. Neil Harmon. Holroyd to Mann again. Five tackles gone, 37 metres made. Holroyd will kick into the corner. Paul Cook will have to pick it up. And he takes them on. But the door was banged shut. Simpson now stands in the tackle well, gets it away to the other McDermott. That's Brian of Bradford. 10 metres inside his own half. Donoghue to Medley. Strong run from Medley, met by a strong tackle from Jamie Field, but not getting off the tackle man quick enough.
Well, they're just lolling around, aren't they? Really has been a blot on this particular game. And I've mentioned it before, and I'm going to mention it again. Russell Smith better start getting that yellow card out. The only way to get through to some of these guys.
Medley. Lowe's and Field hold him out. Donoghue is the dummy half. He gives it to Summers. Summers thought about the pass out wide, and it almost opened up for him. Leeds nearly took the dummy. Robbie Paul gets the pass away to Nicol. Well, the crowd buzzes at Odsal every time he gets the ball. He's claiming the ball was stolen. It went backwards, says Russell Smith. Play on. Here's Simon Knox. Nicol. He was so close, but the ball came free, and the referee...
Forward pass.
No advantage, he says, and he's going to play the knock on.
Nicol got the ball away. See there? See, that was a forward and then the knock on. The ball doesn't have to hit the ground. When Nicol lost control there and it hit the Leeds player, that's still classified as a knock on. Well, I'm beginning to wonder which side is going to start spreading the ball out wide, because at the moment both forwards, sets of forwards, are just trying to prove how tough they are. A lot of one-out running there by the big forwards.
It's just marginally Bradford's match in terms of possession, but it's marginally Leeds' match on the scoreboard so far. Jamie Field releases the ball again, and James Lowe's put the arm out to stop Paul Cook from pushing him over the touchline. Here's Marvin Golden. Good tackling again from Paul Cook. Holroyd with the deep kick downfield. One for Christie to chase.
Better kick as well from Graham Holroyd. He's been off key with his kicking boots today, and that was much better, and a good chase. Cummings and Hall on hand to make the tackle.
Well, I can tell you, Steve-O, that Russell Smith is doing his best to get this game going, because he's shouting and screaming at the players and telling them to get off the grounded player and let the ball start to happen quickly.
There's so much one-out football. That's a problem. One pass and run.
Christie. Knox. No support. You're right, it's one up, isn't it? Simpson. Paul. Just delayed. Gives it to Summers. Support there this time from Medley. And now from Paul. Good tackling from Iro.
That's better. That's what we want to see. Let's get a roll on.
Well, Donahue, I don't know what he was doing then. I don't know what he thought about. I wonder whether he was actually thinking of a drop goal at one stage, because he was between an up and under and a drop goal then. And he knows it was a disastrous kick.
Not happy. He's every right to feel unhappy as well. And to be fair, Eddie, I'm unhappy.
Half an hour gone. Leeds ahead 6-4. George Mann just held there by Simon Knox. Carl Hall. Lowe's making cheap yards from dummy half. That's Gibbons, and this is Holroyd. Holroyd through a big gap. A ton of support with him. Holroyd's going for the corner, and Holroyd gets there. That's a great try from the scrum half. Suddenly the Bradford defence opened up. There was a big hole there. There was a ton of support on his inside, but Holroyd didn't need them.
One of the few occasions the ball has gone out wide. They used the dummy runner. Through the dummy there. Jason Donahue was beaten. He knows he has the pace. Beautiful fend there from Graham Holroyd. That's a classic try. He knows he's got the speed. Watch how he just shifts the ball across so he can fend off with the left hand. He knows he has the speed. Just dips at the right moment. Simpson went far too high. But the link at long last has come along. And there you see Donahue come out of the one line of defence. A little shimmy and a jink there. Beautiful fend off. That is a great try.
Well, he has had his problems with injury this season, Graham Holroyd. He had a shoulder problem which caused him to miss the first 13 games of the Centenary Championship season. That's his first try in the big league. His previous effort for 4 points was in the Regal Trophy. And here he is with another chance with the boot. Tries to drift it in, but it never took a swerve. But Leeds have a 10-4 lead.
Donahue, the first circle, moves up too quickly. Medley hangs back. The gap is through, and the speed does it all. Sheer confidence there from the number 7, Graham Holroyd. That is a good try. The game well and truly needing a bit of life there. You can't get much better than that. That was super stuff.
Russell Smith's having a real old discussion with the Leeds players as Holroyd prepares to restart the match. He has told Leeds that they are on the borderline, and he has given them a bit of leniency so far, both in offside and in the tackling, not rolling off the man as quickly as they did then. So he's warned them that perhaps he will be using the yellow card, Steve-O, and there maybe was an opportunity. Loughlin. Donahue, the dummy half. And there's McDermott. Oh, he did well then. This is Hamer. Tries to run through David Gibbons. Gibbons, the young 19-year-old, stuck to his guns. Summers to Paul. Simpson. Almost through Matt Calland. On the last tackle. It's the turnover.
Nice run from Calland. And I'm sure that their coach, Brian Smith, would have wanted a deep kick. Remember, at this Austral Stadium, all the four corners, they roll up on the speedway track. Ideal opportunity to utilise the kick into the corner.
3 Bradford players caught offside.
Three markers, not allowed only 2. That's the reason why the penalty was given. Even though the new rule, you cannot play the ball forward and the ball must be played backwards, you still can only have 2 markers facing.
Jamie Field, grounded by the tackle from McDermott and Summers. Holroyd, George Mann. Carl Hall was watched all the way by Calland. Forshaw. Little chip through by Holroyd. Simpson comes across and cuts out the danger, and then Golden gets the tackle in.
Good play by the fullback Roger Simpson. It wasn't a bad kick from Holroyd. I'm not so sure that it wasn't a forward pass, actually. They did a run around. It looked as though Holroyd was stood in front.
Strong run from Medley. Summers at dummy half, darting away on his own, met by James Lowes. Of course, Bradford have lost to Leeds twice already this season, once in the league earlier in September and once in the Regal Trophy. So revenge is in the air at Odsal as Donahue hammers the ball downfield. Paul is after it. Oh, did he get down the pressure on that? No, he didn't. Anthony Gibbons spilled the ball.
Super kick from Jason Donahue. And the fullback, Anthony Gibbons, was all at sea there. Must have swirled round in this Odsal bowl. Oh, just got a fingertip to it there. Bad positioning. He was close, very close.
He made a bit of a meal of the high ball, but didn't he recover well? Now Simpson will run the ball back. Jamie Field and Jim Lowes with the tackling there. Hamer plays the ball to Donahue, and he finds Medley. Donahue's in there again. Here's Neil Summers. Sonny Nicol on a diagonal run. Escapes 1, escapes 2. Barges almost through 3. Referee has got them for offside, Leeds.
Well, the 2 centres way out there on the Leeds camp. They weren't offside, never made any attempt to go back. 2 words being said by Graham Holroyd. You see it there. Once the tackle was made, they were taking it very, very slow. He allowed the advantage, did Russell Smith, the referee. Well, he's trying his best to get this game flowing. Both defences appear to be on top of each other. They're moving up extremely quickly. Maybe that may just jog the memory of the defences to ensure they go back the full 10.
Now then, is this the moment for Paul Cook? He's had 3 shots at goal. And it's 4th time lucky. Oh, I think you'll breathe a sigh of relief after that. At last, he's off the mark. Dean Bell, the Leeds coach, watching from a vantage point over on the far side, with Hugh McGann alongside him. That's the coaching duo that so much is expected of at Headingley. So just before half-time, and there are 4 points in it as Cook restarts, and he's not kicked very often off halfway here at Bradford. Sights are not quite set yet. That sails out on the full.
Still a bad mistake, though. So vital to force the team into the corner, make sure your defence keeps them down there.
Well, Steve-O, you've said you wanted a tap on the halfway line for the non-scoring try. You have it now.
Now we might see something.
McDermott, good strong run. 2 tackles gone, they're midway inside the Bradford half of the field. Now they're on the edge of the 20-metre mark with Mike Forshaw.
Well,
lowers the dummy half.
Surely Leeds have got to start spinning the ball out wide.
Holroyd did that, and then Mann brought Iro back on the inside, and Robbie Paul just got a hand to it, knocked the ball down. That's the knock-on. Tried to get away with it. Thought he had.
Got it, yeah. Now then, is that a deliberate knock-on then? Well, deliberate knock-on sometimes can be penalised.
Carl Hall, tackled by Summers. Laughlin, teammates a week ago. Gibbons, and Forshaw again.
The problem is they're not using dummy runners. They haven't run a run around. They're just not changing the tactics at all.
Gibbons again, and this is Mann. The Leeds, as we are now in stoppage time in this first half, not having had the best of fortune since they beat Wigan in that match on Sky Sports immediately after the World Cup. In fact, they've won only 1 league game since then, but they're ahead here as we approach the half-time siren, and we're on the last tackle, and Iro's looking for more, and he thought about the little slope in the corner over the speedway track, but he put far too much New Zealand beef behind that.
That had gone up Mount Everest, never mind a little slope.
So Iro not the best kick into the corner. Bradford will run the ball out. Matt Calland. Donahue, the dummy half. It looked for a moment then as though McDermott had overrun that. There's the siren. That's the end of the action in this first half. Sonny Nicol, terrific try from him. He made it 3 appearances for Bradford and 3 tries in the 23rd minute. But by that time, Leeds were ahead, courtesy of Harmon's try and Holroyd's first goal. Then Holroyd grabbed the second try, and that's why Leeds have a 10-6 half-time lead. This is the best moment, though, of a mediocre first half. Holroyd, super try, Leeds 10-6. Junior Rugby League is benefiting here at Odsal now, as the Clayton Juniors, the Wibsey Juniors and the Queensbury Juniors receive £150 worth of Rugby League footballs because they won the Bradford poster competition that they held in the match a couple of weeks ago against Oldham. Peter Deakin, the marketing executive here at Odsal, currently handing out the footballs to the 3 clubs. Well done to the 3 of them. Terrific, colourful banners. There were about 30 or 40 of them here on the night. We couldn't see much of them, I'm afraid, because of the fog, but the judges could. And Clayton Juniors, Wibsey Juniors and Queensbury Juniors were adjudged to be the winners, and they go home with £150 worth of those rugby balls. Referee Russell Smith then now is preparing to get this second half underway. The Stones Bitter Centenary Championship match. Leeds just ahead at half-time here at Odsal. And I think the half-time report from both dressing rooms will surely have been, Steve-O, we can do better.
A little bit more enthusiasm, support the man with the football. Support play was non-existent, apart from a few passages of play from Bradford. Neither coach, Dean Bell or Brian Smith, would have been happy, I'm sure.
The news, by the way, from the Leeds dressing room is that Craig Innes will see a specialist later tonight about a suspected slipped disc. So that, A, is very painful, and B, could put Innes out for, well, quite some time.
Not the best kick from Graham Holroyd. Didn't have a good kicking game in the first half.
Yeah, it sailed out on the full, so Bradford have head and feet at the scrum where the kick was made. And this is Robbie Paul skirting away from the base of the scrum and just getting there, I think. Did momentum take him over? A big decision for referee and judges. Try given. Lovely try from Robbie Paul. Fed the scrum, skirted round the back of the scrum, shot to the corner and had just enough momentum to take him home.
A wonderful individual try. He run the arc and you could see the defence just open up. Just had that momentum to spin over the line. Tremendous little dummy there. Determination there, etched on his face. The cover defence couldn't get to him. David Gibbons was too late. His brother came across, but the momentum took him over the whitewash. Nice try, though, from the substitute David Gibbons. His brother came far too late to stop the try.
Great individual effort, and now Paul Cook with a chance of adding the extras, and he just pushes it wide of the post. But the score's now level. Bradford 10, Leeds 10. It's all to play for.
There you see how the two men have come across, and he just throws the dummy, and Robbie Paul sets sail for the line. The substitute Gibbons could not just get to him in time. Spins over, momentum takes him over.
Well, he's now Bradford's leading scorer this season. That's his 7th try of this campaign. And Steve-O, that try coming directly from the scrum, positioned 20 metres in from touch to give Paul the angle for the run down the touchline.
Well, it was well worked. They motioned to go to the left-hand side, and he did a complete reversal round. And you could see that two Leeds men went for him, and the sliding defence failed to shut him down. It was a tremendous solo effort.
And perhaps a week ago he wouldn't have had the room on this blind side to make that sort of arcing run.
Too true.
Terrific try.
But again, you've got to look at the fact that it was Graham Holroyd's bad mistake, kicking directly into touch in the first instance.
Simpson bouncing away off 1-2, but eventually collared by the third. And it was Lowe's and Forshaw.
That's better. They're running onto the football now. Matt Callan launching himself.
Simon Knox plays the ball to Donoghue, and this is McDermott. 3 men combined to bring the big prop down. Donoghue again, and here is Robbie Paul. Finds Lachlan. Lachlan did well, despite the attention of Kevin Iro, to keep the legs going. An up and under from Donoghue. Knock on by Cummins.
Well, the pressure got to him. Definitely got the fingertips to it once and twice. But good play from Bradford. Tremendous thinking by the little halfback Robbie Paul, who actually took the short blind side, changing the tactics. Well, the half-time talk from their coach Brian Smith obviously working. It's a different Bradford outfit in this second half.
And it's a different Leeds outfit now, because Jamie Field and Barry McDermott have been taken off by coaches Dean Bell and Hugh McGann, and Adrian Morley and Harvey Howard have come on. Meanwhile, that's Matt Callan with the run. He pops the ball back to Neil Summers, and suddenly Bradford have got the scent of victory here. Donoghue trying to fool them all. Howard and Harmon now operating as the dual prop forwards for Leeds. Here's Nicol.
Leeds are down to 12 men. There's a Leeds player flat out on the quarter line.
The signal's gone out on the bench that he's not going to be able to carry on, and I think it's Graham Holroyd. Meanwhile, this is Lachlan.
Great tackle from Kevin Iro. It had to be. Oh, see the claret down the face there of Graham Holroyd. He must have caught a stray boot.
So they're defending this attack now, Leeds. The ball's all over the show here. The referee must blow the whistle. But no, he says play on. Leeds are in possession.
How's that for advantage? All we needed then was sweet Georgie Brown.
Holroyd will be in the blood bin. Oh, and dear me, his eye is tightly closed.
Great tackle there from Sonny Nicol. That's lifted the spirits of the Bradford side and the crowd. They mean business, the Bulls, this second half.
I think they have been given a rocket by their coach, Brian Smith. High hanging kick meanwhile, but the chase isn't there, and Simpson can run the ball out. Fozzard has replaced Holroyd, who has gone into the blood bin. When you saw the picture of his face, no wonder he's in the blood bin. Fozzard is on though, back after missing the last 4. Interestingly, on the Leeds bench, there are 3 teenagers and Harvey Howard. Both these clubs, Steve, the average age of their squads has plummeted dramatically. Here's one of the old hands, though, Lachlan. Caught by Marvin Golden, one of the youngsters. Paul Cook into the arms of Robbie Paul. This now is Neil Summers, taking them on at the middle, spinning, looking for support. Decides to keep hold, but Leeds all offside. Referee again playing the advantage, and they're bang in front of the sticks. This must be another opportunity here for Paul Cook.
They'll take the 2 points. And you can see there that when they played the ball, there must have been at least half a dozen of Leeds players. And that is good advantage played by the referee, Russell Smith. He was shouting out to the players. There's one of the culprits, Carl Hall, the new boy in the Leeds colours. This could be a vital 2 points.
Well, 1 out of 5 for Paul Cook, but he's bang in front here. It surely will be 2 out of 6. And if this ball sails over the bar, Bradford will hit the front in this match for the very first time this afternoon. Interesting approach to the ball, and from a Bradford point of view, a very interesting result. 12-10, the Bulls hit the front for the first time, and Paul Cook now will have to jog his way back to halfway to restart the match. New rule means that the scoring side kicks off after any score.
Well, I'm
good
sure
World Cup, didn't he, Cook?
Sure did. Really surprised everybody within the rugby league circles that Leeds actually allowed him to go. There's always 2 sides to a story, I suppose.
Gibbons underneath the kick-off. Fozzard. This is what Leeds have been missing.
Got to be a penalty. Surely they interfered with him as he was trying to play the football. But you're right. He's the type of man that could really fire this Leeds side up. A big, strong boy, Nick Fozzard.
Lowe's to man. And Forshaw. Forshaw has run strongly this afternoon. Gets the pass away, but straight into the arms of Paul.
Got to be a penalty.
The ball was stolen, though. It's got to come back. Despite the fact that Adrian Morley clobbered Robbie Paul.
Well, you can see there, Robbie Paul steals the ball.
It was worth a try, though, wasn't it?
Well, it was deemed that Anthony Gibbons had possession of that football. Now, that's the new rule that they are looking at, is man-on-man, 1-to-1. That would have been okay. And I'm sure it won't be long before that new rule will come in. But not yet, Robbie Paul, I'm afraid. He raced 40 metres and got a real good uppercut from Adrian Morley.
And the penalty has put Leeds back on the attack with a vengeance. 8 metres from the line, Neil Harmon. Harvey Howard is skirting around the back of this play the ball. So too is young David Gibbons. It goes to Gibbons. Then it reaches Adrian Morley. 2 tackles gone, 10 metres short of the line. The runner there was 4 short, well watched by Hamer. Now Lowe's from dummy half. Bang in front of the posts, Leeds. Long pass out wide, there could be problems here for Bradford. Gibbons gets the pass back to Fozzard, into the arms of Harvey Howard. He finds Gibbons, good defence. Paul Medley. It'll dab through, and Loughlin is content to simply hack the ball dead.
Nice option though from the hooker James Lowe's. Just couldn't get through Simpson. They don't have to get out of the way. And coming to the rescue is Paul Loughlin. But a nice option by James Lowe's, tough little character. Paul Loughlin happy to boot the ball dead in goal. Drop out from underneath the sticks now.
Leeds will run this ball back, anxious to end a losing sequence in the big league of 3 in a row. They really have fallen away badly after that memorable night when they beat Wigan at Headingley. And Harvey Howard has dropped the ball. And that really has been symptomatic of the last month for Leeds in the league.
Trying to keep the ball alive, but there was no one in support. I must say this Bradford defence is a lot tighter than the first half. As you mentioned, Eddie, coach Brian Smith would have given them the rounds of the kitchen at half-time.
Of course, with all the changes going on at Odsal, there has been little room for consistency here as new players come in. Iro is down and hurt there. There could be more problems here for Leeds injury-wise. But with all the new faces, people being shown the door, new men coming in, Steve-O, it's difficult to get a rhythm going.
Sure is, but they're showing a lot of spirit in the second half. They're building for the future, Bradford.
Callan showed it to Christie, took on Cummins, brushed him off. Christie still in support. Simpson, he's in touch. That's good tackling back by James Lowe's.
Tremendous work from the hooker. Hooker normally plays in the sweeping role. Callan shows the dummy. Cummins stayed with him but got pushed away. And the hooker comes to the rescue. He's no slouch, Roger Simpson, but plenty of pace. Great cover tackle.
At Callan, his first try for the Bulls in London a week ago, showing a great degree of strength there. And there is a problem for Kevin Iro and Leeds, and that looks serious.
I think he's resigned himself to the fact that perhaps it's broken. He looked very dejected to the big centre, Kevin Iro, then.
So Jamie Field returns. There he is, number 12. And Morley is grounded. This is the way Iro got his injury. It's in this tackle, and there it is. I wonder if it's the shoulder.
Yeah, he sort of grabbed at the shoulder to start with, didn't he? But he was holding the forearm coming off. Either way, he's in a lot of pain.
Last tackle, that was for Leeds, 50 metres made. Man with a little kick through, and then it's hammered on by Hall, too strongly. Frustration for Carl Hall and frustration for Leeds.
Well, it was a neat chip over the top. George Mann got the foot to it. It came off. But really, it would have been better plays, Carl Hall, to have made sure of possession, dropped on the football. They would have had 6 tackles. He really did make a meal of that. It wouldn't have been a knock-on because Nicol made a deliberate play at the ball. Well, now the referee, Russell Smith, not happy with that. He's going to call the players out. There you see
the swinging arm, number 16, Adrian Morley.
Well, we saw him swing one early when Robbie Paul made the break. And a bit of a word with him, saying just keep it down, son. There you see, here he comes, bang. He missed, but the intent was there.
Hamer off, Bourneville on for Bradford. Steve-O, Leeds will be running out of backs, won't they? Because Iro's gone off, Innes is off. Holroyd's in the blood bin. They're a bit short there now.
It's going to be a great effort if Leeds can come out and salvage this game. But they've still got the players out there that can do it. George Mann, Francis Cummins, they really are players that can pull a match out of the fire.
Summers with a high kick. That's a terrific kick. Well dealt with by Golden, and he keeps the ball in the field of play.
Did well to the youngster there under a lot of pressure. Look at that. You see, got the boot studs into the ground to prevent himself being pushed into the in-goal area. But this Bradford defence is second half. They're hunting as a pack. They mean business.
Lowe's into the arms of Harvey Howard. Gets the ball away to Lowe's again, who kept going in support. There's Carl Hall. Tackled by Robbie Paul. Last one, and Robbie Paul, after making a good tackle, is then penalised for not releasing the man.
Well, he took an age. Look at that. Well, come on, Russell. Well, a smile from Robbie Paul. He's had a fine game, but he should have spent a bit in the sin bin for me.
Neil Harmon. 9th penalty that Bradford have conceded.
This will test the Leeds' character. Still 2 points adrift. They're not out of it at all.
Fossard with the run. Really bright prospect. 18-year-old Nick Fossard, the Academy International. Gibbons. The youngsters are certainly putting their shoulders to the wheel for Leeds' cause here. But here's Harvey Howard.
Great run there.
Oh, awful pass. Going absolutely nowhere.
Permanently 3 from 5 and finish up with nothing. Not the best finish. David Gibbons trying to bring the man onto the football. 4 went past him. Just hasn't going right for the substitute. But as Eddie mentioned, these substitutes have come on and they're giving it their best for this Leeds outfit. We really have been in a lot of problems with injuries today.
And looking further ahead, Steve-O, for Leeds, they have a Regal Trophy semi-final against Wigan in a couple of weeks' time, the first weekend of the new year. Could be serious problems for them for that. Never mind the next 21 minutes or so here.
Well, from the state of the injuries, to be without Kevin Iro and Craig Innes going into a big game like that, not the easy task, is it?
Great run from Loughlin. He's got support out wide. The support comes from Paul Cook. Oh, that's a great tackle, though, by Anthony Gibbons.
Super stuff, but I thought Paul Loughlin released the football far too early. He zoned in, though, didn't he, Anthony Gibbons? Now, I thought he released the football. He should have committed the fullback a little bit more and then released Cook on the outside, but that is a superb tackle. Eye on the target, spun him right over the whitewash. But it really did surprise me. Loughlin there, normally you track the fullback to you, then release it. Just a split second too early in mine.
David Gibbons now, Medley in there very strongly, so too Donoghue, but Gibbons with a bit of strength to try and brush those two off. Won't get away from Bourneville, mind you, and he looks at Bourneville and says, well, what do you think you're up to? Oh, fancy surrendering the ball there. Medley read it well.
Well, Harmon just trying to keep the ball alive there, and heavy traffic, you're always going to run that risk. Well, mad mistakes really have made it hard going for Leeds.
Calland. Good tackling on him by Francis Cummins. Donoghue to Paul, to Bourneville. Pass was forward.
Little doubt about it. Paul Medley was stood a yard in front, and the substitute Eugene Bourneville released the football.
So the scrum will go down again. Lowe's feeds, Leeds get the possession.
He's done a good job as James Lowe's. He's taken over the responsibility out there. Really is urging on these youngsters.
Carl Hall. Bradford watching him like a hawk. Don't want a dream debut for Hall, just as Leeds don't want a dream debut for Cook. Harvey Howard. Missed quite a few matches this season, Howard, but he's played the last 7.
Once again, great defence from Bradford. Robbie Paul running to put the pressure on.
Ball just bounces kindly.
David Gibbons gave himself plenty of space, all the time in the world. Been a good effort from these youngsters.
Come.
Simon Knox comes off for Bradford. And David Turpin has come on. And Leeds, meanwhile, are down to 12 men, I believe. Because Graham Holroyd is still in the blood bin. Leeds have used up all their substitutions. And Holroyd is still receiving treatment, but the time, a quarter of an hour, has apparently run out. So Leeds have to battle on here with 12 men. The touch judges and referees, Steve, have got the slide rules out, and the abacus is here.
The most important factor for Bradford now is to make it to their advantage and keep this ball alive, try to run the Leeds 12 ragged. Good support play, that's what's needed. And a good link out wide.
And the bad news, and it gets even worse for Leeds from the dressing room, is that Graham Holroyd has got a suspected broken cheekbone. So it's been a bruising encounter this, and Leeds are counting the cost. Donahue has gone down now for Bradford.
Did he catch his head on the ground? I think he did.
And he also had the considerable frame of Harvey Howard dropping on his head.
Well, as you mentioned, it's been a tough encounter. The forwards really have meted it out to each other.
Summers with the high kick. The 12 men of Leeds then battling on. Golden does well to pick that up out of the sky under great pressure. Jamie Field releasing the pass. Golden is there. Cook is all over Golden's back. Donahue off. Limping off. Nathan Graham comes on. It's rough and it's tough in the big league. Cummins.
Just couldn't get into, he just couldn't get into his stride. Just wanted that extra little pace then at the moment. It's a good tackle by Nicol though. Leeds are not out of it.
Man the dummy half. That was Gibbons, and this is Forshaw. Last tackle for Leeds. They made 59 metres. Another high hanging kick. Crossfield kick. Cummins is after it. So is Simpson. Oh, Simpson and company. They combined well to deny Cummins. It was Christie.
Well, they didn't call for each other there. Christie and Simpson was zoning in on the same football. Good job that Christie just came into it. Sort of bounced off Simpson's chest. Well, it's been a brave effort from Leeds. Down to 12 men. Injuries galore.
And bad injuries too. Suspected cheekbone for Holroyd and a suspected slip disc for Craig Innes. This season, Steve-O, which has been compacted into, what, 5 short months, is beginning to take its toll on these players, I fancy.
Well, they had them on for the World Cup off, didn't they? That meant that they had to fit in 2 games a week. And I know I've often said that the professionals should do it, but they are looking very tired, a lot of these players.
They are indeed, and what's more, Leeds have got a match against London on Tuesday. It's punishing the schedule. Chance of an interception there for Christie. Leeds though have it with Cummins. Good defence from Christie. Carl Hall in a dummy half. Mann bounces off one. Turpin couldn't get away from Bourneville though. Gibbons, that was David Gibbons. And that's Adrian Morley. And this is James Lowes. And here's Harvey Howard. "24 metres made in this particular set of 6. Lowes with the kick over the top, far too strong. Bradford 12, Leeds 10. Can Leeds hang on? Can they come back and steal this in the last 13 minutes? Will Bradford now go on to win it with the one-man advantage? Possession is interesting, isn't it? Leeds have the greater figure under their name in this second half, just as Bradford did in the first. But on the scoreboard, it's the other way round. Knock-on spotted by the referee.
That could be a bad mistake there by Robbie Paul. I'm not so sure that James Lowe's fingertips got involved there. Well, according to the referee, Russell Smith. Well, Leeds will get possession here, and you'd see the fingertips of the hooker going in. Not seen by the official.
Two sides here, Steve, with a similar record. Bradford have lost 3 of their last 4 in the League and Cup. The only success coming against Oldham in the fog a couple of weeks ago.
Head-eye tackle. Brian McDermott swinging the arm over the top of his former teammate, Carl Hall. Switched to Leeds this week. Well, he'll have a smile on his face, but that penalty could put Leeds in a very handy position.
Just back to that point, Bradford have lost 3 of the last 4 League and Cup. Leeds have had a dreadful run in the big league, but they've won their way through to the Regal Trophy semi-final. And Bradford have the ball back early in the tackle count here with Loughlin.
Well,
two sides, Steve-O, I get the feeling that they are struggling a little bit on confidence.
And fitness. They're very tired out there. It has been a real rough, tough encounter. The first half, the forwards just charged at each other. One-out football, trying to show who was the boss. And it's telling in the later stages. Swinging arm from Carl Hall this time.
A little bit of payback, maybe. But he picked the wrong man.
Either way, it'll be a relief for Bradford. They were being on the rack. Gary Christie got through a lot of work as Christie in the second half.
Well, we say that the players have got to come up trumps with 2 performances in a week, and so have we this Christmas week. We've got Boots and All on Tuesday at 10:45, followed by a Christmas special on Friday at 7 o'clock. Watch out for the pantomime to end all pantomimes in that. And talking of the festive season, it's Wigan Saints with us on Sky Sports Boxing Day at 5, and we're live at Wilderspool on New Year's morning, 11:30 a.m. we're on air. No parties, Steve-O, the night before, okay?
Okay, boss.
No parties for the players, no party for Steve-O. Tough life. Nicol going for the line, and he's held up. Great strength from Nicol. It took 1, 2, 3, 5 men there to combine to hold him out. Crossfield kick, too deep.
Not the best from Neil Summers there. Nice option. The kick was wanting. But we keep mentioning the corners here go up, and yet we haven't seen one player utilise it throughout this game.
Well, Iro tried, and you said at the end of the first half the kick would have gone up Everest, never mind the slopes. And Summers, I think, was looking for it then. But only 2 in over 70 minutes.
I just get a funny feeling Leeds could make this, they really could pull this out of the fire, and with 12 men it's been a great effort.
Well, history is against Bradford. They've lost their last 6 to Leeds, 3 in the Cup, and then coming back strongly here, Leeds now, but the passes have to go to the man, not the ground.
Well, lost possession early in the tackle count again. It's costing them dear. The opportunity was there. It looked like a forward pass. But Adrian Morley went sailing through the gap, sent out a woeful pass.
Simpson plays the ball to Bourneville. Bourneville plays the ball to Nathan Graham. A good job that Neil Summers had sticky fingers then. Into the arms of Paul. Kick downfield from Paul.
It's a good one too.
Now it's just going to go a bit too strong. It was so nearly an inch-perfect kick. Leeds will restart on the 20-metre mark. Don't forget, after we finish the business here at Odsal, we have all the tries from elsewhere in the championship for you. The last weekend before Christmas. And this is a terrific result, of course, for Wigan up there at the top of the table. At the moment.
He played the advantage, and the Bradford centre and wingman, Lachlan and Paul Cook, were caught offside. It's tense times in these dying minutes. There you see, he made no attempt to get back the 10. He allowed the advantage to the referee, Russell Smith. And Leeds come charging again.
Well, a try here for Leeds would be very interesting indeed, wouldn't it? As George Mann gives it to Forshaw, and Mann was given it by the Bradford defence. Picks himself up though, Georgie Mann. Then spins the ball into the arms of Harvey Howard. 10 metres short of the Bradford line, Leeds. Gibbons trying to jink his way to the line. 2 tackles left for Leeds to get over that whitewash. They might not need them. Harman! Great try! His second! And will that win the match? Neil Harman hit the ball at pace and was not going to be stopped. His second try of the afternoon, and no one's worked harder.
Nice little move there between the hooker, back on the inside. He came on the arc, reached out, got the ball down. Tremendous try, Neil Harman. They've shown a lot of character, this Leeds outfit, in the second half. Injuries have depleted them. They played the last 15 minutes with only 12 men. And what a way for the prop forward to go over. Superb little reverse pass from the hooker, James Lowes, who has led by example. He's taken the responsibility. Once that Kevin Iro left the field injured, he really has led by example. Tremendous stuff.
Great effort from Neil Harman. Well, that's his 6th try of the campaign. And I don't think anything that he has scored previously will have come as sweet as that if it turns into the match-winning try. We notice Francis Cummins now taking the goal-kicking responsibility because Holroyd off the field and in the blood bin. Ball just falls off the little mound of sand. Oh, it's a tee, is it? It's not a sand mountain at all. It's a tiny little tee that's underneath that for Francis Cummins. Well, that's a different one. But it's pretty effective for Francis Cummins. Leeds suddenly hit the front at just the right time.
Little reverse pass, and look how Harman runs in the arc. See how it just dragged out the defence? The little gap was there. Oh, tremendous stuff.
And Neil Harman, it's his first 2-try effort in Leeds colours.
And what a time to score them. They really looked out on their feet, this Leeds outfit. And against all the odds, they've taken the lead.
And now Bradford must run this ball out from deep in their own half. Medley. And that's Carlos Hassan. Lovely Lovely ball from Paul. This is Loughlin again. Loughlin looking on the other side for support, and he loses the ball. Well, that's an almost criminal error from Paul Loughlin.
Well, what a wonderful break from the big centre, and then when he got tackled, he just lost control of it. But I know one thing, that James Lowes, when he took that possession, never made any movement at all. He could have actually conceded a voluntary tackle. He made no movement when he recovered that football. He just wanted to stop the game. So happy to have the possession in his hands.
Well, Hall now. That's a good strong run from Hall. Lowes and Howard drives it down the middle again. Harvey Howard. Last tackle. And they drift the ball into that corner area. James Lowes. Roger Simpson picks it up. Escapes the clutches of Gibbons. But it's a good chase in the end from Leeds. Field was there. And so too James Lowes. He's had a fine match.
The crowd going bananas, saying that Leeds are offside. Really giving the referee Russell Smith the bird. But this is gamble time now for Bradford. Caution to the wind. They've got to keep the ball alive, not go to the death like that.
Touched in flight there on the pass. It's 6 to go for Bradford. Nathan Graham tried to, David Turpin, beg his pardon, trying to take that ball up.
Well, Bradford have to look for a little kick over the top because Leeds can't afford to play with a sweeper.
They've dropped one back though. They've got Anthony Gibbons back. Nicol. Simpson. Looks for support. It's there on the other side with McDermott. A big hole down the middle for McDermott. Oh, and he got the ball away off the ground, but it wasn't a great pass.
Good run though from McDermott. Twisting the tackle just a little bit too low there. Now then, has it been deemed a knock-on from the Leeds player? Medley missed it. Medley did not touch it.
No, he's given a penalty against Bradford. I think he's given McDermott offside.
Well, I can't see that. Medley kicked it with his foot.
Just before you go into that, Steve, O'Neill Harmon, the two-try hero, comes off and into the blood bin, obviously.
Now, Medley touches it with his foot, and Medley, it can't be offside. Medley's gone past. He overruns the man. Well, a lot of controversy again.
Well, he's given the penalty. Leeds have gratefully accepted it, and we're in the last minute. And the Leeds man who carries the messages is on and off the field like a gnat here.
Oh, he's lost it. Or has he
Nick
been penalised? He's knocked on. Nick Fozzard, what a time to lose possession. It came off Turpin as he went down onto the floor. As soon as he impacted there, he did lose it. Oh, what a time to lose possession.
15 seconds plus anything the timekeepers add for stoppages. Bradford in possession. This match could well have another little twist in the tail for us yet. Nicol. Great chase though by Adrian Morley. Nicol's flat out.
Well, that won't hurt the cause. He's obviously injured because the last thing that a Bradford player would want to do would be to slow the play down. So that must be a bad injury. He was really dumped down there on the top of the neck. Adrian Morley put all his weight on the top of it. Let's hope that Sonny Nicol's okay.
They've called immediately for the neck brace. Nicol's arms, Steve, are moving. Well, Sonny Nicol goes off on the stretcher. You may remember that we saw Peter Gill of the London Broncos a couple of weeks ago going off in similar circumstances. And hopefully Sonny Nicol will come back as quickly as Peter Gill did. The good thing about the Nicol injury there, Steve-O, he was moving his hands and he was talking apparently quite fluently to the medical attention.
Well, let's hope he's okay, but Leeds have got to watch now. Bradford have to use the kick. They really can't gamble just keeping this ball alive now.
Well, gamble they have. There's a little knock on, was it? Russell Smith says no. James Lowe's got to it cleanly.
Only just. He did well there. He caught it before it hit the ground. Didn't have full control. Well, it'll be just reward for James Lowe's in this second half performance. He really has worked tirelessly, led his troops magnificently.
Forshaw with that run. A tackle from Bourneville. Here's Harvey Howard. Have the 2 tries from Neil Harmon won this match for Leeds? Hall gets it to Cummins, and Cummins gets the pass away inside. Bradford have it back, but they're right on their own line.
Well, it was a big gamble to run with it on the last. Cummins trying to keep it alive there.
Robbie Paul will try and win this match now for Bradford. Gibbons gets it away to Loughlin, but he's been brought back for a forward pass by Russell Smith. I think he's right. I think that was the last chance for the Bradford Bulls.
Well, was it forward? I'm not so sure. Either way, that was the last throw of the dice.
Yes, because the full-time siren has gone, and Leeds have picked themselves up off the floor here, magnificently led by James Lowe's. 2 tries from Neil Harmon, 1 in each half, and the last one, 5 minutes from time, winning the match for this Leeds outfit. Disappointment for Paul Loughlin and the rest of the Bradford players, but a gritty and determined effort from Leeds. They were reduced for much of that second half to 12 men because of injuries. But it's Neil Harmon who will take all the headlines for his first 2-try effort for Leeds. That's the way it finished here at Odsal. Bradford 12, Leeds 16. A hard-earned victory for Leeds, and quite a triumph for James Lowe's, who had a fine game. Well, James, that was a really gutsy display by this Leeds team.
Yeah, I mean, we've been to Odsal before. We know what it's like to play here. Dean and you have drilled it. Know us this week. It's going to be a tough game, so we come here expecting it, and we worked hard and got the result.
Walking wounded in the end. You finished with 12 men, some bad injuries too.
Yeah, we've got a couple of bad injuries, you know, but that's part of rugby league, I suppose, and we just got on with it. And we stuck out. We worked hard. 12 men, you've got to work hard, and we did, and we come away with the 2 points. There's
so many youngsters in this Leeds outfit, but you're one of the older heads, and I think they look to you to drag them through.
Yeah, hopefully not too old. Yeah, you know, we've got a lot of young kids coming through, and you know, they're deserving the places to get in and working hard, and like you say, it's up to us who've been in a few years to show them the way, and hopefully we're doing that to them.
A lot of spirit in the camp, is there? Because we keep hearing rumours that things again aren't all well at Leeds.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on in the press at the moment. It's totally just not true at all. All the lads are together as a unit, and you know, we're playing for each other like we showed today. We played for each other, and I think we'll go places hopefully in the Super League.
Dean, you have been quoted in the papers a recent past of saying that you're a little bit concerned the way things are going at Headingley, but I would say today a lot of guts and determination on show for you.
Yes, first and foremost, they showed a lot of character. I mean, there's still a lot of areas we need to clean up in, obviously, but yeah, the boys hung in there. You know, we only had 12 men for about 20 minutes of the second half, so, you know, they dug deep and they showed me what they can do.
A lot of courage on show, and that must please you.
It certainly does, but they've got to back it up next week and do exactly the same, and until they do that, I won't be happy.
Now, you've finished the match with 12 men. What is the news of the injuries?
Oh, it's like casualty in there at the moment. It's horrendous. You know, Kevin Iro's torn a bicep muscle. Graham Holroyd looks like he might have fractured his cheekbone. He's got a number of stitches under his eye already. And there's a couple others. I think, you know, there's about 3 or 4 that must be in doubt even before we face London Broncos on Tuesday. Craig Innes went off early. That didn't help at all.
So the last thing you really want is another match on Tuesday.
Well, 2 days later, it was going to be hard to back up anyway, but after this today's game, it is difficult, but we've just got to get on with it, and injuries happen in the game, and it gives the opportunity for a few more youngsters to have a go.
Well, that must be a major plus point of this season. So many youngsters in the side. You're dropping the age, aren't you?
Yeah, I certainly am. I mean, it'll soon go up if I put the boots back on. There's no chance of that, though. Yeah, it gives them an opportunity. I don't think you'd like to throw too many in at once, but circumstances being at the moment, it looks like I'll have to.
Final point, there's been a lot of talk this week, obviously, about the Paul Cook decision and to sell him here to Bradford. What do you say now to all the critics who have been having a bit of a snipe at you since Wednesday?
Oh, well, I mean, it's up to them. I suppose it's a free world. They can say what they want. I've got broad shoulders, and good luck to Paul Cook. I hope he does well at Bradford, but he didn't fit in my plans, and it wouldn't be fair to him to be playing reserve grade. So at Bradford he gets a chance in the first grade, and and I'll slowly get my team together.
Paul, not the happiest debut, I'm sure, the fact that you lost to of all teams, Leeds.
No, it was a great feeling to come out in front of the Bradford fans, but like you say, it wasn't a good debut, but hopefully we can kick on from here, and like you say, the Leeds made mistakes, we made mistakes, and I thought we did enough to win it, but there was good signs. Bradford with a few good breaks, especially down my side, but Leeds scored in the last 5 minutes, so they've got the 2 points.
I know that you were desperate to do well because I spoke to you in midweek, and you were really nervous, but up for it just the same.
Oh yeah, well I sat down and thought about, like I said to you earlier in the week, and I thought, well, I might as well get this game out of the way, and then when I do play Leeds again in the future, I'll know what to expect. But like you say, it wasn't the right result, and hopefully when we play Leeds again, the right result will come.
A lot of support you've had, of course, from the Leeds public. Dean Bell, though, he says categorically you weren't in his plan, so it's as good to make the break now as later.
Yeah, like you say, Dean Bell said I wasn't in his plan, so Super League is the way for me, and Bradford have given me that opportunity, and Brian Smith and Bradford Bulls, so I wish all the Leeds lads all the best, but hopefully I can do well at Bradford and keep my place at Bradford and, like I say, do well.
You're the 14th new face to come through the door here, so it will take time to sort out, won't it?
Yeah, it will take time. I think there's a few more signings to come as well, so it will take time. Hopefully we'll be pushing at the end of the centenary season and pushing early on in the Super League.
The statistics now behind this win for Leeds. Leeds, well, they had to make slightly less tackles than Bradford. They won 8 scrums to 6, penalties and handling errors all square, and the first half possession was 50-50. But Bradford saw more of the ball in the second half, but they didn't make as good a use of it as Leeds did. Talking about the possession, Leeds held on for 16 complete sets of 6 in the whole match. Out of 39, that's a percentage of 41. They made 1,320 running metres, and they made 34 metres every time they had the ball in their hands, compared to Bradford, who made 38. Well, it was never a classic here at Odsal, but my word, it was a gutsy and determined effort from this Leeds side, who ran out winners in the end, courtesy of those 2 tries from Neil Harmon. As I say, it wasn't a classic, but Steve-O, guts and determination there on all sides.
Yes, it was a typical derby game. Both sides went at each other, the forwards, one-out football, very, very tough indeed. A lot of injuries, but Leeds showed tremendous character in that second half. Down to 12 men for the last 15 minutes. Tremendous display from the hooker, Jamie Lowes. He was outstanding. He led by example and really did deserve to get the win today.
And it's like a casualty ward, apparently, in both those dressing rooms. The ambulance has taken Sonny Nicol off to hospital. We hope he will be all right. But a lot of injuries for both clubs to contend with.
A lot of problems, and it's beginning to prove that they've played far too many games in such a short period.
Now, the big shock of the day has happened away from Odsal over the Pennines at Oldham, where Oldham have beaten Wigan, the champions. I'm not saying, Steve-O, that it has thrown the championship race wide open, but it certainly perhaps has delayed the celebrations for Wigan.
It could have done. A tremendous effort from Oldham, but I thought the cracks were beginning to appear when they played Widnes last week. Their defence wasn't as strong, and maybe they're not as good as what we think they are.
Well, let's now see how Oldham beat Wigan, because we have the highlights coming up for you of all the other matches played in the championship today, and certainly the headlines were made at Watersheddings.
Seize the day.
This was the shock result of the season, but it didn't appear to be heading that way as Wigan raced into the lead with a try from Scott Quinnell after just 5 minutes. And it looked like being the normal Wigan try-scoring procession when 2 minutes later Simon Horton set off from the base of a scrum and found the route wide open. Paul's conversion making it 10-0 to Wigan. The Oldham fight-back began after 15 minutes when Martin Crompton, a former Wigan player, delayed his pass to Darren Abram. And Tongan winger Afi Luila barged his way through to score, Francis Maloney kicking an excellent touchline goal. Still, Wigan seemed to have little to worry about as they stretched their lead with Martin Afire cantering in. And the champions seemed to be back in control as they again found a huge hole in the Oldham defence, which Scott Quinnell exploited to make it 20 points to 6. Just before the break, Oldham hit back again. Crompton to Maloney and Abram onto Luila. There was no stopping him from that range. In the second half, the game was turned on its head as Oldham overcame the handicap of having half a dozen first-team regulars out, sub Gary Burns darting over, Maloney goaling to make it Oldham 18, Wigan 20. Andy Goodway, the Oldham coach and former Wigan player, saw his side take the lead as Abram provided the final pass for Chris McKinney. Back came Wigan, who were without Sean Edwards to regain the lead. Rudlinski and sub Andy Craig giving Afire his second try of the game. Another Paul conversion, making it 26-22 to Wigan and only 4 minutes to go. But there was still time for Oldham to snatch the glory, as Maloney's high kick was gathered by Abram and Martin Crompton just reached out to score. Maloney's conversion sealing an astonishing win. Another defeat for the bottom club Workington, although they again made a match of it before fading. Halifax ahead through Asa Amone's try, created by Wayne Parker's awkward kick. Halifax added a second try after 20 minutes when Amone's burst through the middle set up the chance for hooker Paul Rowley. The Cumbrians hit back with a great try, and loose forward Jason Palmada was the spark, featuring twice in a slick handling move that was concluded by Billy McGinty, and goaled by Colin Armstrong to make it 10-6. But again, the Workington defence was vulnerable when Parker threw a long ball out, which Anderson had time to gather, and Baldwin just headed straight for the line. Just before the break, though, the strength and skill of Roland Phillips, holding the ball up until support arrived, set up a try for Mark Johnston, which Armstrong goaled, and there were just 2 points in it at that stage. But more weak defending cost Workington dear. Halifax centre Grant Anderson fending off the challenges of Fraser and Wallace to go in. And in the second half, Anderson claimed his second of the game, bursting onto a ball from Wayne Parker, the creative hub for Halifax. And Halifax rounded off their win with a smart try from Craig Dean. Had they kicked their goals, none from 5 attempts, the margin would have been greater. The Sheffield Eagles made it 6 championship wins in a row with this victory at the Valley. Dean Lawford's diagonal kick setting up their opening try for Paul Carr. The London Broncos defence again let them down when, after a quarter of an hour, Ian Hughes burst through. David Maiko adding the goal to make it 10-0 to the Eagles. Back came the Broncos with Tony Ray setting up a try for big full-back Paul Hoff. The goal by Mattison giving London some hope. But they blew their chances with a mistake on their own 25 and Hughes took advantage. Just before the break, London allowed Carr to go on a run and he bagged his second try of the match. The Broncos staged a late fight back, too late to threaten the Eagles' grip. Hoff going in at the corner for his second. And in injury time, a try from the former Wigan player Paul Stevens gave the Broncos a bit of respectability.
Now the results in the Championship this weekend. Warrington 31, Castleford 20. Bradford 12, Leeds 16. Halifax 26, Workington 12. London 14, Sheffield 21. And Oldham 28, Wigan 26. And that shock defeat of Wigan now throws spotlight on St Helens and Leeds and their matches in midweek, while Sheffield completed a 6th successive league win in London. Down at the bottom, Workington lost for the 11th game in a row at Halifax. Also, from all of us here, have a very happy Christmas. The big league team will return on Boxing Day at Wigan.